Terrific. All right. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Debbie Bello, and I'm the Director of Admissions at JEVS Orleans Technical College. And we are thanking you so much for joining us today for this most informative presentation in celebration of National Apprenticeship Week. Our virtual panel presentation and discussion will include apprenticeship partners and their apprenticeship journeys, perspectives on the importance of apprenticeships to bridge the skills gap in the greater Philadelphia region, and the great need for developing pre-apprenticeship to apprenticeship opportunities. And we have a great lineup of speakers and perspectives. But before I begin, I would like to just let you know that we are recording, and if you could put yourself on mute, we would appreciate it. Also, we want to be mindful and respectful of our time together. We have an hour, and we want to have, give you lots of information. So if you could also put your questions in the chat, and we will be sure to address them at the end of the presentation. Okay, let's begin. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce to you Mr. Jay Spector, our President and CEO of JEVS Human Services, who would like to say a few words regarding the reasons we support apprenticeships to bridge the skills gap between employers and job seekers. Mr. Spector.
So formal, Debbie. I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you. We are really happy to be able to participate on many fronts around apprenticeship. We play many different roles, so it is a great way to recruit and retain employees, and we really believe in it. Let me start by thanking everyone for attending and participating on the panel. The theme of today's event is really around celebrating partnerships. It really does take a village, and it really requires us to work with partners throughout. I want to, at this time, really thank some of our key stakeholders, some of our employers such as Tri-Crisp, KMM Group, Habiger, Goldman, and then our training partners, Bucks County Community College. Thank you for your commitment to this effort. JEVS is celebrating its 80th anniversary of helping connect job seekers and employers, placing tens of thousands of job seekers into jobs across dozens of sectors from entry level to skilled professionals. As an employer of 800 plus employees ourselves, we have experience of hiring apprentices, in both IT and direct service professionals. We put our money where our mouth is. It's a lot easier for me to talk and discuss this subject with you when I know that we participate at every level, not just being an intermediary, not just being a referral source, but also being an employer who understands what it really takes to be successful in this area. And so, this has been an interesting year and a half. I don't have to tell anybody here about COVID and how it's tested all of us. And that starts with the labor market. We have to find new ways to reskill people. More industries have been battered by the pandemic in so many different ways. And at the same time, employers are struggling to find the talent they need to meet their business objectives, whether because of an aging and retiring workforce or just skills and talent gap that exists out there. Apprenticeships are a pipeline for diverse talent, helping employers tap pools of potential employees that might otherwise be unable or unsure about how to access. For small and mid-sized companies in particular, being an intermediary partner, JEVS can aggregate demand sectors and employers and streamline the work of creating and sustaining apprenticeship efforts. Partners like JEVS with insight into the job seeker pool and the ability to translate that into employer needs are essential in managing today's workforce challenges. We're happy to do our part, and I look forward to hearing from our other panelists. And once again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jay. Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Mark Genoa. Mark is the Associate Director of Apprenticeships, Jobs for the Future. And Mark's going to be discussing the question, why is the federal government investing in apprenticeships? Mr. Genoa?
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Jay and Edison and all of JEVS for organizing this very important webinar and inviting me to participate. As Debbie mentioned, I'm an associate director. My name is Mark Genoa. I'm an associate director in JFF's Center for Apprenticeship and Work-Based Learning. But I have to say, it's good to be kind of, talking with the Philadelphia audience. For those who have not come across, a couple of years ago, I was at the workforce board there, Philadelphia Work, leading the apprenticeship work there. So it's good to be back here. And again, thank you, Jez, for asking me to come on. Just really quickly, for folks who don't know, JFF, we are a national nonprofit. Specifically, as I mentioned, I'm in the Center for Apprenticeship and Work-Based Learning, where we provide expert guidance and resources on effective approaches to work-based learning that benefit business, students, and workers. And under our USDOL funded project called Improving Diversity and Equity in Apprenticeships for Manufacturing, or IDM, we partner and support organizations and employers like JEVS and the employers that are here today on their apprenticeship work through technical assistance, funding, and other work. So we really value the partnership we've had with JEVS and all the employers on this webinar today. The national landscape of apprenticeship, as many of you may know, is on the rise and has been on the rise for the past 10 years. Over these past 10 years, the number of new apprentices have grown by 70%. And here in PA, as of 2020, there were over 18,000 active apprentices in all different types of industries. This earn and learn training model has been expanded in and evolving beyond its historic roots in the trades as forward-thinking employers and organizations like JEVS and all the employers here today are doing, and has grown to other industries like IT, healthcare, and advanced manufacturing. Really, they've embraced apprenticeship as the ideal way to prepare talent to fill immediate needs and for the future of work. In manufacturing, as Jay alluded to, across the labor market in general, there's been workforce challenges. In manufacturing, these workforce challenges have been persistent beyond these past couple of years, but they've been intensified over these past 2 years, especially most recently. So I feel and JFF feels that apprenticeship in manufacturing in all industries are more important than ever right now. And what makes these programs work is the highlight of today, and that's partnerships. And that's why the federal government is investing so heavily in apprenticeship. Apprenticeship programs are built on these partnerships. They include employers, secondary and post-secondary educational providers, community organizations, workforce boards, CareerLink, and intermediaries like JEVS that coordinate these partners to support apprentices and program success. These partnerships around apprenticeship are an important strategy for building a more inclusive economy as well, by creating affordable, reliable, and equitable pathways to good jobs and potentially degrees. So apprenticeship is not intended to simply get someone a job, but intended to teach a wide range of knowledge and skills specific to an industry area that individuals can use to move into successful careers. Additionally, apprenticeship was and is intended to serve employers' need for new and diverse talent. And you can see all these factors, as I mentioned, the different partners involved, the success of apprenticeship programs in the trades and now over the past years in these other industries are why the federal government has and states have been investing so heavily in this. For example, with the Obama administration kicking off this modern apprenticeship movement back in 2015 with the American Apprenticeship Initiative, as well as the additional investment. So through that, between 2015 and 2017, the federal government invested more than $265 million in apprenticeship programs. And from this initial largest investment in registered apprenticeship, the funding has only grown substantially to where we're at now is under consideration at the federal level. We have a new National Apprenticeship Act, which hasn't been updated since the 1930s. This Apprenticeship Act passed early in February and is currently still sitting with the Senate committees under consideration. And really what this Apprenticeship Act would do would bring apprenticeship further into the modern era and invest more than 3.5 billion in the registered apprenticeship system over the next 5 years. So again, you can see the importance federally as well as statewide with states making these similar investments. So again, thank you for JEVS for organizing this. And thank you to all the employers who have implemented an apprenticeship at their work sites. And now I would like to turn it back to Debbie to take us into the first panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. That was great. Thank you so much. Well, I'm actually going to turn it over to Mr. Edison Flade. He's our Director of Gateway Initiatives for JEVS Human Services. Edison?
Thank you, Debbie. And
Yes.
thank you, Jay and Mark, for setting the stage for our next conversation. So JEVS functions as an apprenticeship intermediary in IT, health, manufacturing, and you're going to hear about our next projects soon. But we can't do this without some key apprenticeship partners, and that's the employers. So I'd like us to have an opportunity to hear about TriChris, one of our partner employers, and their story about how they focus on growing their own talent as a good business solution. So with me is Bill Carling, the president of TriChris, Billy Carling Jr., who's the group lead for CNCSLAs and a recent apprentice graduate, and now one of our mentors, and Antonio Hatcher, who's the newest apprentice at TriChris. Thank you for joining me, team. So Bill, I want to ask you the question first. Please share a little bit about your company, your story, and why you use apprenticeships to grow and deepen your bench.
Okay, TriChris Company was founded in 1943. Right now, currently, we have 18 machinists on staff. We're a jobbing machine shop. We do a lot of parts for the pump and valve industry and also some aerospace parts. My father worked here since the mid 60s. He bought the company fully in 1990, and I've taken over when he retired. My background is I went through North Moncovo Tech and did 3 years there, and I worked as a machinist elsewhere for 10 years, and then I started here at this company with my father. We used the apprenticeship program to kind of grow your own. Currently, the way it used to be is you ran an ad in the newspaper, you got 12 applicants, you weeded them down to 3, and you had to pick from 3 pretty qualified applicants. Anymore, nobody even reads the newspaper. You're on Indeed and all these websites. It's really branched out and spread out. You don't know where people are looking for stuff. You know, between the sign out on the road and Indeed and Craigslist and multiple other things, we found it's just going to be a lot more consistent if we can hire some guys with the basic skills who are interested in this trade, and then we can grow them through the apprenticeship program to enhance their skills to get to a higher level. And our goal is to get everybody up to that level. So that's a little bit about where we're at with that.
Well, thank you, Bill. I really appreciate your insights. And let me turn over to Billy Jr. First of all, congratulations on completing your CNC machinist apprenticeship, as well as obviously you are the son of the owner. So it must mean something that he put you through this apprenticeship. And I also want to thank you for being now the mentor for Antonio. So can you take some moments to share some highlights about your apprenticeship experience and how these experiences have helped you to prepare to be a mentor for Antonio?
The best part with my experience going through the apprenticeship would be you get such a vast knowledge of like all different parts of the trade between inspection, the manuals, the CNCs. I'm mostly have been in manual lathes and CNC lathes. I never really got into the milling side. So being able to go to school, take your manual milling courses, then you go into the CNC mills, do some programming and stuff that had helped out a lot. And you get a vast knowledge of, like I said, just about everything throughout the trade. So
Great, thank you. And sorry if I'm interrupting you. Just remember, what does it feel like to be a mentor to others? For example, for Antonio.
I enjoy it a lot. You get to, you have your base employee, and then you get to see them grow as they go through the apprenticeship and watch them learn. And it also helps you figure out where they may be struggling in other areas where they're very strong at. So you get a little bit of everything through it.
Well, thank you, Billy, for your comments. And now, may I ask Antonio to join us? Antonio,
Hello,
welcome.
how you doing?
All right, welcome to the apprenticeship family, and we congratulate you for being the new Tri-Chris apprentice. So first of all, what motivated you to join the apprenticeship program, and how has the experience been for you so far?
When I got hired, I was a Swiss machine before here. It just seemed like I never fitted into a company where I can call it my own. Get the best out of, this trade. I wanted a career more than a job. When I first came here, just the support, the will to teach me, and just accept me as, part of the family or whatever, and just give me the opportunity. So I wanted to give back also. I hate being put on the spot, sorry. It's just something I wanted to do, wanted to be a part of, grow with the company, grow as an individual, as a person, giving back to the company, doing the best that I can. And also, like I said, not just a job, a career, looking at long terms. So that's where I'm at with that.
Well, thank you so much for your comments and reflections. I'm opening up a little bit of the floor. If anyone wants to ask the Tri-Chris team a question, we have a little time to do that. Or if the Tri-Chris team wants to share anything. Okay. Well, thank you, Tri-Chris team, for sharing your story and showing how employers can build a deep bench with so much care and nurturing of their employees. So growing your own talent is one piece of the larger puzzle. And to explore further how partnerships are key to developing career pathways for all, equitable career pathways for all, I'd like to welcome the next panelist. With me is John Shegda, Chief Executive Officer of KM Group, who's another founding member of the Manufacturing Apprenticeship Program that JEVS supports. John also chairs the NTMA Delaware Valley Chapter Workforce Work Group and is an incredible advocate for meaningful early career awareness for young adults. And Susan Herring, who's the Executive Director of Workforce Development at Bucks County Community College, and who's been very creative about thinking the holistic supports that our community needs, and has partnered with JEVS to register their pre-apprenticeship programs with the state. So they're the officially registered pre-apprenticeship programs. And finally, I'm asking Shane Simon to join us, who's the newest KM Group apprentice and a graduate of Bucks County Community College Metalworks program. So John, let me start with you. Again, please share a little bit about your company. It's very fascinating to hear about the history of companies and also why your company is so active in creating early career awareness and a support of pre-apprenticeship to apprenticeship pipelines. Take it away, John.
Sure, happy to be here. Thank you, Edison, for again organizing. I think everybody said that same thing, but this is a really important thing that we get the message out there even more so, and that's really segues into where I live, right? So I'm here in a dual purpose. I'm the CEO of KMM Group, which is the merging of 3 different companies. I have a business partner. This happened right before the pandemic. Great time to merge companies, right in January before the pandemic hit last year. But we brought these, and the companies that were brought together were M&S Centerless Grinding, Marin Medical, which are 2 companies that I brought into the fray, and then KV Incorporated, or KVI, which is my partner's company. And we're all very active. All 3 companies were active with the Bucks County Community College pre-apprenticeship program. So if you're talking about partnerships and the importance of that, we have looked at, from our company standpoint, we have looked at the partnerships with Bucks County as well as with JEVS as being critical to our success. There were some notes to say, it mentioned that we have 2 new graduates of Bucks County that have entered into the apprenticeship program, but if I go back and count the number of folks that have entered into our company from the Bucks County program, it's got to be 20 over the course of since 2014. So in the last 7 years, I got to think that the total number has to be around 20 or maybe even a little north of that. So it has been a great partnership with Bucks County. I think it's been reciprocal in that we've given a lot to the program. The program has given a lot to us. And we try to get out there a lot. Your question, one of your questions, Edison, was that why is it important? Why is it important for our company? Why is it important? Really, it's important for the region and the industry overall, because, just echoing a couple of things that my colleague Bill Carling said, that you can't hang a shingle out there anymore. There isn't anybody to get, right? You have to grow your own. You have to understand how to build your own workforce from within. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to be around for a very long period of time. And then to what their great apprentice over there, Antonio, was saying, he wanted to build wanted a career more than a job. God, that's totally key in being in getting somebody that's engaged with the company. And that's something that Bucks County has done a wonderful job of vetting people, getting really good talent into the program so that they are like pre-qualified when they come out to go into our companies that are associated with the program. They do such a great job of that. I think the best in the area, quite frankly. And so I think it's been a really remarkable how we've done this in a little group, and why it was important to try to grow this apprenticeship into something bigger is because, just what Chris was saying is it is a vehicle. It's one of the vehicles that we have to try to grow back the importance of this industry. We've lost a lot in manufacturing in the region, and it's such a critical piece of the economics of this region that we can't let it go. And so that's, for so many different reasons, I've immersed myself in trying to be an advocate of manufacturing and early adoption, getting into schools so that kids can understand that there is a career here. It's not just a job.
Thank you, John. And Sue, obviously you have a long-standing relationship with employers. So please tell us about the pre-apprenticeship programs you have developed, the Metalworks, industrial maintenance, and other things that you've done. And why is your college invested in these programs as an entry point to a career pathway to life-sustaining jobs, in this case, advanced manufacturing?
Thank you, Edison, very much for inviting us here today. And shout out to John Shegda and Eric Wilhelm, who have been very strong partners of our programs from the very beginning. Definitely some of our founding fathers for our award-winning, I'm going to call them award-winning programs. Bucks County Community College worked with manufacturing employers who were really visionary, I think, 7 years ago, to realize that a lot of their skilled labor was getting ready or would be retiring over the next 10 to 15 years. And there was not an influx of new talent coming into manufacturing. So the college, the County of Bucks, and our manufacturing partners worked together very closely to build the metalwork training program, which is a 12-week program with foundational skills for machine operators. We, on the advice of our employers, we built in a very strong employability skills component, and we have a dedicated job developer / career coach who works one-on-one with our students and our employers to make good fit matches. We've trained and placed over 330 people at this point, between our metalwork program and our industrial maintenance training pre-apprenticeship programs over the last 7 years. We built the industrial maintenance program because we had such great success with the metalwork program and we knew that industrial maintenance was also a great need in manufacturing. After we built the program, we were able to then work very closely with the County of Bucks Workforce Development Board, PA Career Link, and other county agencies who work with underserved populations to make sure that the students we were bringing in were those students who could really benefit from these kinds of programs. We bring in people with young people, older individuals who are transitioning from one career to another, but all individuals who need this leg up to get on with a good career. We've had graduates come through our program who never thought they would have the opportunity to make the money they make in a family sustaining career. And I can't tell you, we do graduations at the end of our 12-week cohorts, and family members bring me to tears because they're thanking us for giving their son, husband, grandson, granddaughter, the opportunity for a better life, really. And the real beauty of it is, I would say 98% of our students go through our training free of charge because we're able to get different grants from the county, from the state, from the federal government to enable that to happen.
Nice.
Thank you, Susan. That's incredible what you've been
Yeah.
able to accomplish, and the creativity and the commitment to ensure equity for your community. So I'm going to turn to Shane. Shane, thank you for joining us again, and for as the new CNC machinist apprentice at KM. Can you share with us how your pre-apprenticeship experience at Bucks County helped you prepare for your current position?
Sure, and thank you for having me, Edison. So the pre-apprenticeship program, going into it, it was something I was very unfamiliar with, the entire world of manufacturing, machining. I wasn't particularly even aware of the opportunity, and I was very fortunate to have found the pre-apprenticeship program. Upon entering it, I had two great mentors that did a tremendous job laying the foundational skills that really set me up for success when I eventually came to KMM Group. They taught me the variety of skills, including job skills, as Susan was saying, that really just helped me get my foot in the door and succeed where in the position that I'm at now.
Great. And so talk a little bit about your positions. Like, what's it like to be at KM? I'm sure it's incredible, but you're also learning, what's that culture like, and how do you see that informing your decision to maybe recommend to peers to consider pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs
So
as a career option. Sorry.
one thing that was mentioned is that definitely it's a road to a fulfilling career rather than just another job. And definitely a big part of that is the on-the-job training that I receive here in terms of mentorship, in terms of online classroom setting work, and just throughout the entire experience, every day, it's something new that I'm learning, a new skill, a new idea, whatever it may be. It's always expanding my knowledge every day that I'm here. So definitely if someone wanted to be in a career where they can think on their feet, where they can be learning every day, I would highly recommend any sort of pre-apprenticeship program in terms of laying that foundation to eventually move into a full apprenticeship like I'm in now.
Thank you, Shane. And we have a little bit of time, and this question goes for anyone. I'm going to pick out a question. Suli put a question, said, what would you say to other employers about the benefits of apprenticeships? And that goes for you, Bill, or anyone on the both panels.
No one's jumping at me. The benefits of apprenticeship are, the reason why, and from sitting in the chair of NTMA in the region for a number of years, and I exited that a couple of years ago. But the reason we started a regional apprenticeship program, which we're so thankful JEVS took over to really take it to a different place and a different level, was the importance of apprenticeships, the availability of it to all of us as small companies. I mean, it's a lot easier for a large company to put that in place because they have the resources and the people to run it. But it is the basics, we don't have that. It is not ubiquitous. People don't understand how to train and formalize that training to get people from a baseline to proficient in the shortest amount of time. And an apprenticeship is a wonderful way to do that. And we just felt like we needed to put that across the board, across the region, and level the playing field for the small companies versus some of the large ones out there.
Thanks.
Thank you, John. And thank you, everyone, for sharing your thoughts and comments and for really crystallizing for everyone that it really does take a village. I think John mentioned that to build career pathways that are accessible, equitable, and that create for our community a much more inclusive economy. And it's so appropriate that we're speaking about career pathways because this also happens to be Career Development Month. So I think the audience has heard, like, how do we build this? It takes a village and takes strategic partnerships. So I want to also ask folks to consider joining Apprenticeship PHL, which is a way to build this ecosystem to continue to support this work. And now I pass this on to Delby Bello.
Oh, thank you, Edison. I had a question though for Susan, if you don't mind. I was pretty interested in this. I was interested in knowing what skills do they learn in your industrial maintenance program?
Thanks, Debbie. I just put it in the chat. I didn't know if I would have the opportunity to answer the question, but they are, it's electromechanical skills. So we do, basic AC/DC electrical, mechanical fabrication, pneumatics, hydraulics, but a lot of safety, shop measurement systems, hand tools. So very foundational over a 12-week period. Excellent. And upon completion, do they receive certifications? They receive a Bucks County Community College certificate, but they also receive an OSHA 10 certification and forklift safety. Thank you. Thank you very much. I had one other question. I don't mind if you don't mind if I ask. I'm just wondering, how are you identifying those that you think would do well in the profession? What are you looking for? So we actually built a pretty substantial vetting process to bring students into the program. We interview them. So during that interview, we asked them things a lot of employers couldn't ask, like could they pass a drug test? And do they have their own transportation? But we also want to make sure that their head's in the right place, that they're committed to the training, that they'll be there every day and on time. We also do a criminal background check. we do a drug testing. And to your point, the final thing we do is an electromechanical aptitude test to make sure they have the aptitude to be successful in the training.
So now I can see why John said how well they're vetted.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. I just wanted to see that was the last of the questions here. All right. So we are going to move on. I am proud to introduce to you my new campus president, Mr. Rodney Brutton, who will be taking on this next section. So Mr. Brutton.
Great. Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
And yep, much kudos to Edison and the team for, again, putting together a wonderful discussion and panel. I think here at Orleans Technical College and the work we do at JEVS, what sort of sets us apart or sort of aligns with much of the work today that's been discussed is moving some of the work from policy discussions in terms of the big picture into putting some of the things in practice. And so one of the areas that we are really moving forward with is looking to roll out 2 apprenticeship programs here at Orleans in partnership with employers to really engage and expand the work we do, not only in the construction trades, as many of you know we do, but also expanding some of the work in a few areas. So 2 of our employer partners and panelists today to talk a bit about the partnership with OTC in Orleans and JEVS is Sonny Bracero and Kevin Stump. So we'll start with you, Sonny. If you can just give us an overview of the work you're doing at Gateway and how it sort of aligns with this apprenticeship model and the partnership here with JEVS. And then as Sonny wraps up his remarks, we'll then pass it to Kevin to offer some thoughts about his work with the Goldman Group, and again, how it aligns with the property maintenance apprenticeship program. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to you, Sonny.
Good afternoon, all. Thank you for hearing us out. I'm really here on behalf of our industry rather than E.O. Habhager. My name is Sonny Varkey, and I'm the Service and Project Manager for Gateway Petroleum, and we're a wholly owned subsidiary maintenance company of E.O. Habhager. What our industry does, we essentially we install, maintain, and sell fueling equipment. So what sort of everyday example of that is gas stations. I mean, we do all sorts of fueling facilities, even charging stations and so forth. But the main thing you can think of is gas stations. So biggest customers are 7-Eleven, Wawa, Speedway, and so forth. So we hire technicians, and this is where the apprenticeship comes in. We hire technicians that actually maintain that equipment. That's what our bread and butter is in the maintenance department. One of the segueing into the whole apprenticeship idea is that, after my research and working with Edison at length over the last 9 months and doing a lot of industry consultation, we're trying to put together an apprenticeship. And I just want to borrow a few remarks actually from earlier in this presentation from Jay Spector. Jay talked about the skills and talent gap. We're an industry that has that. We have a huge skills and talent gap. We need apprenticeship in the apprenticeship model to address that. And earlier this week, we heard, in the diversity seminar from Joshua Johnson, we also have difficulty keeping people. So apprenticeships are a great pathway for people to stay. And what we've heard about today from all of the speakers is it really is a career. It's not like a dead end job type thing. It's a career. It's a lifelong commitment. And I think that's what apprenticeships, the true value that they would give our particular industry. And I mean, what you can see on the slide here is that, apprenticeships, you can just see just from what we've discussed today and earlier, how they can really benefit our industry. The number of contractors is just getting smaller. They tend to be amalgamating and getting bigger. There's been a big sea change in terms of skill set. And you guys have seen it when you fill up your vehicles, correct? Fuel. You've seen TV playing and you've seen screens and things like that. It's gone from hardcore mechanical to some IT laptop-based work. We also have like a lot of industries, and Rodney, you can appreciate this with a lot of your employers in HVAC and electrical and so forth. It's an aging workforce. We got the majority of our technicians are over 50 years of age. We need to bring that next generation in. And once again, apprenticeships really fit neatly into that opportunity for us. The other thing is EMV, and all of you know about this, is you've been getting those little credit cards and debit cards from your bank mailed to you with the chip cards. Well, we're not shielded from that change. EMV stands for Europay, MasterCard, Visa, and basically all the credit card companies turned around to the gas station and said, if there's any fraud that happens to your gas station, if you don't start getting equipment that'll read those chips, we'll put the liability back on you. So what's happened is there's approximately 160,000 gas stations, and there's only 1,000 certified techs throughout the United States, continental United States, to do all that work. So you can see there's a huge amount of work, but not enough skilled technicians to be able to do this. Can we go to the next slide, please? Next slide. No. Well, anyway.
It should be coming up, Sonny. It should be coming up. There we go. Is that it?
No, it hasn't changed.
So it hasn't changed.
That's okay. I can talk to it anyway. In terms of the number of gas stations in the United States, there's about 160,000. That doesn't include, your private facilities, your charging stations that are now propping up all over, like strip malls, or you've seen it. They call people like us to either build them, service them, or even sell the equipment. And although you see the number of convenience stores declining, you see that they're consolidating. Your speedways are now owned by 7-Eleven. So the number is not really getting any smaller, actually getting bigger due to the electronic charging sphere. As you know, with the change of government recently at the national level, it's only getting bigger. And the other huge factor you can see at the bottom is 90% of these convenience stores since COVID are pretty much open 24 hours, because gone are the days that a lot of your younger crowd are going to, your traditional grocery stores to get your bread and milk and other necessities. They're going to these convenience stores, your Wawas and so forth. That means they're going to put more abuse and more use and wear and tear on your fueling dispensers and so forth. And that's where we come in again. So we've been really kept busy as an industry, but we don't have enough labor. We got a labor shortage, and we got a specific labor shortage, a skilled labor shortage. And apprenticeship is such a useful model to deliver real value to employers. So just the last slide there, if you could bring that up, it just gives you a brief pictorial of some of the work we do on site. There it is. And there's a cross section of a gas station. So each, as you can see on that illustration, the top left-hand corner, underground is your construction technicians. Your above ground, your actual dispensers that you guys touch every day are handled by people like us. And then you've got the in-store, where you've got your point of sale technicians, which are your IT type things. And you can see a dispenser opened up there on site, and you can see the wiring and so forth. So you can really see that there's a blend of skills we require: electronic, mechanical, and a little bit of plumbing. And you see some of our hardworking technicians on site there working on site, doing some work. And if anyone's got any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Great, thank you, Sonny. Kevin, you want to offer some remarks and speak to the work you do at Goldman and how it aligns to the apprenticeship model and sort of the work we're doing here at Orleans Tech to expand the property maintenance work. Kevin?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Edison, and thank you very much, Rodney, for having me. We at the Goldman Group, we are a property management firm. We have about 10,000 apartment units across Pennsylvania and Delaware. Our partnership with Orleans goes back several years, working with the classrooms there and trying to hire the graduates there. We have some that are still employed. I'm usually out there with every class trying to present and hire the folks out there. And it's unique because we have a built-in bench, if you will, to bring these folks out into our properties. Our biggest need are for the maintenance technicians here. We have high-rise properties, we have garden-style properties, we have mid-rise properties. So the types and skills that we use vary greatly from where the property is. You know, circling back again, that skills gap, I know it's repetitive, but it's just the honest piece of where we are. We see a big breakdown between, you know, what we need and, you know, the aging workforce and where they have and all the knowledge that they've had. And when we get some of the younger generation not having that full set of skills and the availability of the knowledge that we truly need. And I think that's the huge part of where the apprenticeship will come in is, you know, being able to spend more time with them, having a more groomed, a little more qualified, more exposure as they come into the workforce with us, and having the buy-in prior, because, you know, the apprenticeship is more than just a few months in a classroom. The apprenticeship really is a true buy-in of where they want to be and where they want to go. And at that point, they know it's a career and it's going to be a lifelong journey. You know, we have seen numbers over the years start to creep up back in these types of in technical fields. And, you know, we're happy to see that because they're the types of folks we need. You know, today alone, I can probably put 9 of your people to work today. You know, so my needs are here, my open positions are here, but it's filling the positions with the proper people and making sure they have those skill sets that we need. And that's where the partnership comes in that, you know, I think is going to be hands down a tremendous benefit to us to be part of this apprenticeship. And I welcome the opportunity to be part of it. I'm glad we are, and, you know, to be able to get kicked off and move forward, to be extremely excited.
Great. Thank you, Kevin. So as we close and turn it back to Debbie, again, I think the connection between the sort of policy and practice and not just sort of having a big picture approach as to why apprenticeships are so important to OTC and JEVS, we can also just put some programs in place to put some rhetoric behind, reality behind some of our work. So with that being said, I want to thank both Kevin and Sunny who talked about, again, the work they're doing here with OTC and the apprenticeship model, and you know, go into more detail about our next steps moving forward. So with that being said, I'll turn it back to Debbie to present our next speaker. Debbie?
Thank you, Rodney. Thanks very much. Go ahead, please, Edison.
Debbie,
Go
yeah.
right
So we also wanted to hear from our partner, Stuart Bass, to talk to us a little bit about what's new in advanced manufacturing. We are looking to expand on the model of using the industrial manufacturing technician, and we want to, you know, invite the employers that who are present here to sort of help us think about this. And so, Stu, with your vast experience in establishing apprenticeships in the region, and tell us a little bit about what you've done. Please share why you're working with OTC and JEVS to establish this industrial manufacturing technician apprenticeship in the Philadelphia region.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. It's great to see everybody here and to hear all these great stories from both employers as well as apprentices on the values and the benefits of apprenticeship. I started working with JEVS through my partnership with Jobs for the Future. You met my colleague Mark Genua earlier with the Idea M project, and I'm also working on a couple other projects with them and other national organizations to promote apprenticeship. And one of my partnerships includes working with Philadelphia Works, that is working with the apprenticeship PHL, and I posted the link to that website for you when Edison had mentioned that. The work with the industrial manufacturing technician really is a way to create partnerships. I know that the Community College of Philadelphia, who has representatives on the call, is also working with this. And we're talking about developing the partnership that could lead to college credit, as well as helping folks get a leg up on entering into the manufacturing world. I myself was a machine operator in the garment industry in the last century, but there's a lot to it when you think about entry-level jobs. And what the industrial manufacturing technician program has done is brought some credibility, including credentials, to an entry-level job of machine operator. This does not include maintenance work. It really focuses on quality control and customer service and introduction to manufacturing principles such as Lean and Six Sigma. I'm going to post something in the chat from Jobs for the Future that talks about the benefits of the industrial manufacturing technician. It's a model for creating apprenticeship to help folks to have access, because it includes communication and shop math at a very basic level. And the idea is now that Orleans Tech can create a shop environment for folks to get experience. This could be used both as a pre-apprenticeship and working with the Manufacturing Skills Standard Council content that also provides industry recognized credentials. It also provides an opportunity for folks that have been denied access to family sustaining jobs in the past. Many organizations across the country are using the industrial manufacturing technician to help women and folks of color to get the skills to enter into apprenticeships and be a qualified job seeker knocking on the door of manufacturers. The employers that have used this have been pretty pleased. I'd like to mention First Quality. My friend John Bond is representing here on this call. And they were one of the first in Pennsylvania to sponsor the industrial manufacturing technician. I know Community College of Philadelphia is exploring this. The Harrisburg Area Community College, the Allegheny County Community College have already become sponsors of the IMT. The beauty of this is that it creates a pre-apprenticeship model as well. And when you think of pre-apprenticeship, a lot of folks think of it as purely a pre-employment program. But this is a program that could also be for incumbent workers. Then what we're working on doing in the region is creating a stackable credential. So if folks come in the door with some of the credentials such as OSHA 10 and other introductions to manufacturing, introduction to blueprint reading, electronic principles, then they can have a leg up to be prepared for industrial maintenance technician and as well as machinist. So I hope you all would consider working with JEVS and the Orleans Tech as we start to explore how to bring these benefits to the region's employers. Thank you, Edison, for inviting me.
Thank you. Debbie, please.
Yes, thank you. All righty, so we're going to be asking Ms. Christine Gillespie to give our closing remarks. Ms. Gillespie is our Senior Vice President of Career and Technical Education at JEVS Human Services. Ms. Gillespie.
Sorry, had to get my unmute button going. Thank you so very much, Debbie. I very much appreciate it. I am very, very pleased to see all of the folks on this call today. As I was scrolling through the pictures and the titles, I'm familiar with so many of you and your good work. And I am very much looking forward to taking all of our partnerships and centralizing them into a concerted effort at JEVS and OTC. I think there is enormous possibility and an enormous pathway. Stu just talked about the stackable credentials and taking blueprint reading and OSHA 10 and rolling them in. And then we get into the academic terms of PLA and can we do it for credit and degreed apprenticeships. That's all in our immediate future. And it's not impossible to do. I think maybe 10 years ago, and I know that Stu and John were involved in some of these things quite some time ago. It's coming, it's here, and we are filling that pipeline. Somebody posted a question about apprenticeships for the professions. Absolutely. And we can consider these professional positions if we're in construction management. You're now moving from a blue collar to a gray collar to potentially a white collar job, all in the same industry. And the model is there. It's been proven. We've done it for hundreds and hundreds of years. One of the most important things I thought was heard today, or that I heard today, that I don't think has been highlighted yet, was when Billy mentioned that one of the greatest things about on-the-job training, workplace-based learning, is the ability to determine someone's strengths. We so often don't have the opportunity to determine or the time to look at what someone can do really well and then explore that and expand that and expose that within the company and take advantage of it. And I think apprenticeship gives us that exact opportunity. And that's only good for all of us, for the company, for the employee, for JEVS, and certainly for our economy. So I want to thank you all for your attendance today. I'm going to turn it back to Debbie for the final word. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. I'm actually going to forward it over to Edison. He did a fantastic job in putting this all together. I really enjoyed listening to everyone and the companies and the apprentices themselves. So Edison, thank you so much. I've learned a lot from this today as well. So Edison, take the last word.
Thank you. I just want to, again, express our deep gratitude for you taking the time to join us, to listen to these stories. And, we think that the power of storytelling can change things. What I charge us all to do is to think about the lever next to us that we can press, to ensure that we can move this work forward. What can we do to ensure that our communities are inclusive in terms of economic opportunity? We've heard from our speakers about the investments of the federal government, the investments of the state, the way employers are rethinking. So the question is for all of us is, how do we together ensure that these opportunities are accessible to everyone? So enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you very much.